We recently moved and our new house has way less storage than our old house did. I'm gonna build a new storage system in the garage to help me tackle all that stuff. And to make this as simple as possible, all you really need is a drill and a saw. Now the concept for this is relatively simple. We want to build a couple of ladder portions and we're going to have the totes go in between those with the lip hanging on the rungs of the ladders. Then to keep everything upright and have the spacing correct for the totes, we have some headers and footers that we're going to screw those to. This is the wall that I'm going to build the storage system against, and originally on the bottom and top I was going to go with a 2x4 material, but my ceiling is only 8 feet 1.5 inches tall. So instead of doing the 2x4, I've decided that I'm gonna go with 1x4 for the top and the bottom, just so that it'll fit. Now, using 1x4 or 2x4 is gonna work, and for me, they cost the same. So if you have the space, I do recommend going with 2x4s. For the vertical pieces, we are gonna go with 2x4s, and I recommend marking them out before you start screwing things together. For the totes that I'm building, I'm gonna come up for my first cross piece is gonna be at 14 inches, and then the rest are gonna be up 16 inches from that. Then the very top piece though, I'm only gonna do 15.5 inches, just so there's a little bit more wiggle room for that top one so that we can slide it out easier when it's way up high. While this build does take 48 stretchers, a miter saw will take quick work of that. Although if you don't have a miter saw, you can totally do it with a handsaw. Ideally, you would build the front and the back portion of the frame on the ground and then lift it up when it's done. What's nice about that is that you can drill in from the bottom and the top, and it's really easy to do and nice and stable. In my case, I don't have enough room to lift it up, so I'm gonna use a pocket hole jig to put holes in the face of the 2x4s and then build it in place. The edges of the totes are gonna sit on these cross pieces in these ladder looking portions, and they're 30 inches long. You only need one on the end, and then you'll need to sandwich with 2 of them in the center so you can have totes on either side. When you're measuring for the spacing of the totes, make sure there's a little bit of wiggle room for when you're sliding it in and out. In my case, that's 21 inches. You're gonna end up with a little bit of overhang on one of the sides, which you can clean up with a flush trim saw, or if you use the plans, I'll have that in there to cut that in the first place. With the whole thing assembled, it's pretty sturdy, but it does rock back and forth a little bit. Whoa, that went a little bit more than I expected. Now normally I'd say to attach it to the back wall to hold it stable, but in my case I had to move it forward a little bit because I have some pipes in the way, so I'm gonna screw it to my ceiling joists. Not all 27-gallon totes that look like this are the same dimensions. I'll have a link down in the description to the ones that I've used, and I'll also have a link to some free plans that I have on my website if you want to use these totes and have the same dimensions for the rack. One quick note, you can build the whole rack out of 2x3s instead of 2x4s and save about 25%. I would have done that, but they were all out of them at my local big box store when I went and picked up my lumber. My rack turned out pretty stable attaching it to the ceiling, but if you need to attach yours to concrete, check out this video where I compare powder actuated nails with concrete screws to see which one might work best for you. Thanks so much for watching and take care.